Susan B. Anthony, the story about the woman behind the women's voting movement. Susan B. Anthony was a pioneering American social reformer, abolitionist, and one of the most prominent leaders in the women's suffrage movement. She was known for fighting for women's right to vote, co-founding major suffrage organizations, and advocating for equal pay, education, and anti-slavery reforms. In 1820, she was born in Adam, Massachusetts, into a Quaker family that valued equality and education. When Anthony was 6 years old, her family moved to New York, where her father managed a large cotton mill and provided family a stable financial background. He then sent her to a international school where she found it was too strict and too unfair. The family then moved to Rochester, New York in 1849, where their home becomes the meeting place for abortion, abolitionists like Frederick Douglass. In 1849 to 1851, she joined the Daughters of Temperance, addressing alcohol abuse and major women's issue due to abusive alcoholic husband. This gave her the first public speech in 1849 and was silenced at the Temperance Convention in 1852 because she was a woman. This exclusion drove her deeper into women's right work. In 1851, she met Elizabeth Cady Stanton. The two formed a lifelong partnership advocating for women's rights. The two women had complementary skills. Anthony excelled at organization when Stanton was an aptitude for intellectual matters and writing. Anthony was dissatisfied with her own writing ability and wrote relatively a little for publication. When historians illustrate her thoughts with direct quotes, they usually take them from her speeches, letters, and diary entries. In 1852, she attended her first women's rights convention in Syracuse, New York, and begins public speaking and organizing for suffrage. In 1852 to 1860, she co-founded the Women's State Temperance Society. This realizing women needed the right to vote to influence laws, organized and spoke at National Women's Rights Convention. She also held a campaign to change the New York property laws to give married women control for their wages and assets. In 1861 to 1865, she helped organize anti-slavery meetings for American Anti-Slavery Society. She also co-founded the Woman Loyal National League with Staten, collecting 400,000 signatures to abolish slavery, the largest petition drive in U.S. history, and called for universal suffrage, including women and formerly enslaved black men. However, after the 15th Amendment that gave black men to vote but not women, the movement has split. Anthony and Stanford formed the National Woman Suffrage Association, wanted women enfranchised immediately, while Lucy Stone led the American Woman Suffrage Association, accepted gradual change. In 1868 to 1872, she launched the Revolution, a woman's right new paper, with the slogan, Men, their rights, and nothing more. Women, their rights, and nothing less. Formed Working Women's Association, linking suffrage with labor rights, and become the national speaker, giving up to 100 speeches a year. In 1872, Anthony was arrested in her hometown of Rochester, New York, for voting violation of laws that allowed only men to vote. She was convicted in a widely publicized trial, although she refused to pay the fine and authorized declined to take further action. In 1875 to 1890, she has helped to write a multi-volume history of woman suffrage, campaigned in nearly every state for state-level voting right laws, and has gained support from organizations like Range and Women's Christian Temperance Union. However, the the two organizations into a National American Woman Suffrage Association in 1890 and became its president in 1892. She also co-founded the International Council of Women in 1888 and the International Woman Suffrage Alliance in 1904 and worked with feminists in Europe to globalize the movement. However, she passed away on March 13, 1906, and ages 86, how, and still fighting for women's suffrage. She lived long enough to see the movement to go mainstream, but not long enough to vote legally. However, in 1920, the 19th Amendment had passed, nicknamed the Susan B. Anthony Amendment in her honor.